Get ready to get started. As we get ready to enter into study tonight, I want to start with a particular song. Is Deb in here? Yeah. Okay, because Christy's about to take the children. Since you, I want to play because it's going to go along with the message for tonight, and so we can enter in, listening to this song, preparing us for whatever God has to say to us tonight. Go ahead. What a great song. My question tonight is, when you hear the words of that song, I know my Redeemer lives, what comes to your mind? What thought? What?
Peace, forgiveness, love.
Peace, forgiveness, love. What else? My Redeemer. What else?
That my sins are forgiven and no one brings them up but my enemies, but my Redeemer has power.
All right, all right, all right. Anyone else? My Redeemer lives. What comes to your mind? What comes to your heart when you hear the words, my Redeemer? Restoration? Yeah, I knew what you meant. Yeah. Yeah. Restitution. That's right. Okay. Jessica. Yeah. 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 That's right. That's right. That's right. You're no longer that same old person. That's right. My Redeemer. My Redeemer. That's right. Because He lives, I can live again. That's right. And preparing for tonight, I was just, thinking about some things, and I'm like, okay, guys, I don't know what this is about tonight, but this word Redeemer, this theme of redeem, and just thinking about, from a definition perspective, it says, to pay a debt, to pay for. But this is the one that stuck with me, and it really kind of drove it home for me. It said, from the Greek word, and then it said, the main idea is to redeem one's relatives from difficulty or danger. To redeem one's relatives from difficulty or danger, such as buying back some family property or purchasing an Israelite out of slavery. To purchase someone's property, you've lost your property, and someone comes and says, you know what, I understand you can't afford it, I'm going to buy it back for you and give it back to your family. Or someone who's enslaved and somebody says, you know what, I'm going to purchase your freedom. I understand you can't purchase it, so I'm going to buy it for you. I'm going to buy it for you. And then, of course, we got to go through the whole, African American thing channel and go through that in my head of how many times, somebody was in bondage. Even some of my own family, and thinking that they had this idea in their head that only if I could just get my freedom. Only if I had, somebody that was kind enough to say, you know what, you've served me long enough, I'm going to give you your freedom. And I've thought about that over and over, and how, here we are today, that technically we are a free people, correct? We don't have anybody making us do anything except pay taxes. You don't have an option in that. But for the most part, we are a free country, but yet people are still in bondage. People are still in bondage. People still are not free. And I said, okay, Lord, what are you trying to say here? I realize in the natural that everything looks okay. And I understand that you have purchased us, with the blood of Christ. And we're going to go through those scriptures. But yet I got it in my head that there are those of us that are still in bondage. We still are not free. We still are enslaved to something. We are enslaved to habits. We are enslaved to people. We are enslaved to all kinds of things. But we are still enslaved. Yes, sir.
And what's so bad about that, a lot of us don't realize that we are.
That's right. And that led me to a question. You might not want to answer it, but I want you to think about something. What are you still enslaved to? What controls you even though you don't want to be controlled by it? You want to be free from it, but for whatever reason, you find yourself constantly being controlled by this thought, being controlled by this event, being controlled by this habit. You are constantly being controlled. You are consumed with this thing. It could be anywhere from anger to jealousy to rejection to bitterness to lust to greed to hatred. It could be anything. But the bottom line is you are still in bondage. You need somebody to come along and rescue you. Well, here's the sad part. We have been rescued. We have been bought. We have been paid for. We can find passages like 1 Corinthians chapter 7. It says, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 19, do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own? For you have been bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body. You've been bought with a price by God. So, Jesus paid the price. You identify with the fact that your soul has been saved by God, but for whatever reason, we still walk around in bondage. We can go to passages like this one. Isaiah chapter 52, verse 3. This is what it says. It says, for thus saith the Lord, you were sold for nothing, and you will be redeemed without money. You will be redeemed without money. So we understand to redeem means to purchase or to redeem one's family members or to redeem yourself out of difficulty and danger, enslavement. So here we are. Jesus has done his part, but yet we are still in bondage. Why? Why are we still in bondage? Why are we still holding on to things? Why are we allowing things to hold on to us? Why are we allowing people to hold on to us? Well, thinking about this, one of the things that went through my mind was this fact. So often people want to be a part of something. They deal with loneliness. They deal with the frustration of not feeling that they have any value. They really go around battling their identity. We just spent 2 or 3 days in group dealing with this issue of identity. And here's what happens. You do something and you take on the identity of what you've done. So if I stole, I become a thief. If I lied, I become a liar. We become what we have done, and that becomes our new identity. You're constantly looking at yourself based upon what you've done, and that becomes who you are. Anybody hear what I'm talking about? Anybody disagree with what I'm saying tonight? That is who you become. Therefore, you run around and you sit in a room full of people, and you sit there and there's people that want to get to know you and people want to talk to you, but you can't get out of your own head of what you've done, and therefore you are unworthy of love. Everybody looks at you funny. Nobody cares about you, all because of the way you see yourself. A lot of you are. That's only if you let it. But here's the bottom line. The sad part is you don't have to let it. But what I want us to own is the fact that we are letting it. We can tell by the way we treat people. We can tell by the way we think. We can tell by the way we relate to others that we don't go to somebody with a pure heart. We go to people operating out of our shame and our guilt of who we see ourselves as, not the way Jesus sees us. Because we're always judging ourselves based upon what we've done. Well, the question tonight is, are you really redeemed? Are you really redeemed? If you are really redeemed, do you walk around in the identity of your past? If you have been redeemed. Well, I think it's interesting that we know the song just sang it. That was Nicole C. Mullins. She did a beautiful job, but I want you to hear where it really came from. Listen to these words. Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book. That with an iron stylus and lead, they were engraved in the rock forever. As for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will take his stand on the earth. Even after my skin is destroyed, yet my flesh shall see God. Here's Job in the midst of all his turmoil, in the midst of all his struggle, amidst of losing everything, and his friends talking to him and telling him how he's failed. Here's Job. And Job is saying, in the midst of all this, and though my flesh, yes, it might be true what you say about me, but I want you to know something. One thing I do know, that I have been bought with a price that I am unwilling and unable to pay. I have been bought with a price by somebody that will give up everything just for me. I'm trying to help you with your identity tonight. You have been redeemed. You have been bought with blood, not with money, not with gold, not with hearsay, but Jesus gave up his life for you. Therefore, why in the world would you walk around being identified with your past when Jesus has paid the price and redeemed you with his blood? Yes, sir.
Is it all right if we feel like we have been redeemed? Is it wrong to feel like
Here's the bottom line, Eddie. I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives. That's the point of the song. I understand who I was, Jessica. I heard you when you were talking. I saw the expression. But the point is, whenever you start doubting who you are, whenever you start looking back at your past, whenever somebody walks up to you and tries to remind you of everything that you've done wrong in your life, look at them dead in their eyes and say, I understand what you're saying is true, but I know that my Redeemer lives. I know who I am. I am redeemed. I am redeemed. I am no longer that person. I am redeemed. You are redeemed. Job has gone through this test, this hard place in his life. And even his friends have said, man, you must have made God real mad. And all Job had to hold on to was the fact that I know. I'm looking at my circumstances, but I know. I hear what people are saying about me, but I know. I know that I have been delivered. I know that Jesus has done enough to get me out of this difficulty. He's done enough to take me out of the slavery. So if I can get in my head that I'm redeemed, I am no longer a liar. I am no longer a thief. I am no longer a hoe. I am no longer a pimp. I am no longer any of those things that the world says about me. I am, somebody say I am redeemed. Do you understand? Do you understand? I'm trying to help you with your identity tonight. You got to change that attitude. You got to change that mindset and stop looking at who you were. The world is constantly reminding you of who you were. The world is constantly reminding you. And some of us don't need no help from the world. We beat ourselves up pretty good, don't we? Well, I'm trying to change your language tonight. I'm trying to get you to understand that you don't have to walk around in shame and guilt any longer. You don't have to do that anymore. Because if you have been bought with the blood of Jesus Christ, you are no longer, finish the statement, but you are redeemed. You no longer have to be enslaved anymore. You don't have to be enslaved anymore to those thoughts, to the past, to your failures, to your feelings. You don't have to be enslaved anymore. So the last question is, if Jesus has redeemed you, He's paid the price for you, what right, matter of fact, what bad sense does it make to go back into bondage? I'm just asking a question. Why would you want to go back into bondage? How many of you in the room are redeemed? You know you've been redeemed by the blood of Jesus. You know that. So why would you allow yourself to go back in to a state of bondage? That would be stupidity, but unfortunately that's what we do. That's why you hear me say we're stuck on stupid. Don't make no sense. But who does it to us? The devil don't do that to us. We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. We'll sit around and we'll say who I am and what I've done. Again, you need to hear the progression. Guilt is what you have done. You identify what you've done. You feel bad about it. Shame makes you recognize that thing that you've done, and you take on the identity of what you have done. So if you have kicked the chair, I'm a chair kicker. If you've done something worse, it becomes who you are. But you got to understand, church, whenever we as believers get into a spot where you are not feeling confident, you are not feeling good about yourself, you're not looking at your situation from the right perspective, you better understand that you have been redeemed, which means He bought you, which means you don't even have a voice anymore. You don't, wait, hold on. Since when does a slave talk back to the master without getting a beat down? Here I am, bless God not. I'm owned by this one. This one buys me, now I'm over here. And I'm going to tell the one that just bought me, I don't want to be with you, I want to go back. Do I have a choice? All I am doing is causing myself frustration. Listen to what I'm telling you. All you're doing trying to go back into Egypt is cause yourself frustration. You've been bought with a price that was not paid by money, but with blood. And you have the right, if you want, to run back over and play with the world. You have that option. You can go back and you can fool around with your old friends and your old family. You can go back and do some of them same things that you've done in the past, but you need to look at your life and realize, how did you feel? What did you think? What was your lifestyle like when you were over here in the world? Did you like it? No, you wanted out. Now you're out. What are you trying to do? Get back. But if you will settle it in your heart, settle it in your mind, settle it in your spirit that I have been redeemed. Somebody bought me. They own me. I am now a slave to Christ. I'm a slave to righteousness. I am no longer a slave to this world. If you can get that settled inside of you, I believe a lot of you will feel better. You feel better. Because you won't be struggling internally. You won't be battling internally. It won't matter where you go or what you do. It won't matter how long it takes. You'll understand that you've been bought. But you haven't been bought by someone who's mean. You've been bought by somebody who's actually real cool. He loves you. He takes care of you. He sustains you. Whenever you don't feel good about yourself, He reminds you often, hey, wait a minute, I love you. I love you. I'll never leave you. You're in a crowded room. You say, man, I wish I had somebody for me. You do. You got Jesus. But you got to let Him put humans. I know we want to reach out and touch somebody. I understand. We want something tangible. I understand. But what you better understand is you might get what you want and lose what you have. See, when you ain't got this over here, you depended upon God. You got peace. You being sustained and taken care of by the best. But you might mess around and lose what you have trying to get what you want. And God might let you have. Now all of a sudden, you sitting back on, wow, when I had nothing, I was doing good. You've been redeemed. You've been redeemed. You've been redeemed. You've been bought. You've been purchased. You've been purchased out of a dangerous or a difficult situation. Third, redeemed. So, Deb, I want you to play this song one more time. And I want you to listen to the words. Listen to the words of the song. And understand. Understand the song better now. You've been removed from that. That's not who you are anymore. You have a different identity. You have a different last name. You have a different family. But can you accept that? Close your eyes a second while she's signing that. How many of you tonight were struggling in this very area? You're not feeling confident about yourself. You're not comfortable where you're at. You're struggling with your place. You're struggling with your place. You're not sure where you fit in, or you might even feel a little bit underappreciated. You're getting on a routine, and that routine is becoming tough to handle. I want you to understand, you've been redeemed. You've been bought. Don't struggle anymore. Ride the wave. Just lay back.